Well, hi, everyone. Welcome to Trifecta. I'm Bill Whittle. Today, in the second of our three-part series on the evolving crisis in Syria, we're going to focus on the diplomatic fallout of what even the most partisan Democrats are calling a catastrophe in terms of loss of prestige, both for the president and the United States. So let's bring in Steve Green and Scott Ott to review the wreckage of this Syrian gambit and see how we got here and where we may be headed diplomatically speaking. Good to see you guys. So, gentlemen, events are moving so rapidly and the number of real-world military and political moves are so dense that I think it would probably be pointless to speculate about what may happen next. So let's concentrate on what's already happened. Steve, we were promised a new smart diplomacy. Among the many packages under that particular Christmas tree was a Libyan adventure run by Hillary Clinton that 1 year ago got us the Benghazi debacle, the deepest tendrils of which I think involving weapons in the hands of al-Qaeda still remain unearthed. So now we see a virtually identical set of circumstances in Syria. Once again, we have a rudderless president, a bumbling, although different, if still worn and tired Secretary of State, and the perception of America as a trigger-happy, opportunistic bumbler. So, Steve, how well do you like the administration? Do you think it's lived up to its promise to restore America's international image after warmongering cowboy George Bush and his rush to war?
You know, yesterday, Monday, was the worst day in American diplomacy since Eisenhower. Went with sided against the Brits and the French and the Israelis in the Suez Crisis. He went on after his retirement to call it the worst mistake he'd ever made. This makes that look like a big win. Here is what has happened. Here is what the smartest man in the room, what the smartest man in the world has done. I'm assuming he's going to take the cover that Vladimir Putin has offered him, because as Sun Tzu wrote, and one of my readers reminded me, you always build your enemy a golden bridge to retreat across. Putin has built Obama one that's gold, it's crusted with diamonds, it's got arrows saying, walk this way, don't step over your tongue. Okay, that's what Putin has built here. And Obama's going to take this thing, and by inviting in the Russians, who will be the international inspectors, of course, because those are the ones the Syrians will accept, we have now made Vladimir Putin the guarantor of the Syrian regime, which, of course, is an Iranian client, and he has cemented this Russo-Iranian hegemony over the northern half, over the Fertile Crescent, over the northern half of the Middle East. This is an absolute disaster. I don't know when we're going to recover, and 40 years of diplomacy and good works and war have been undone because of this guy's big mouth, his big ego, and his tiny little brain.
Perfect. Well, Scott, I couldn't agree more. Just exactly what Steve just said. The real winner in this diplomatic goat rodeo, unquestionably, has been Vladimir Putin. So what does it say about this present administration? That when it comes to reason, evidence, practicality, restraint, consistency, diplomatic skill, and most of all, morality, that the world turns away from the United States of America and turns instead to Russia.
And not just to Russia, to the former head of the KGB. I mean, we're talking to Vladimir Putin. You know, and you go back to that moment when Hillary Clinton said we want to reset relations between the U.S. and Russia. We certainly have reset them. The U.S. used to be the leader. The U.S. is no longer the leader. You know, in your introduction, you talked about how there's catastrophic loss of prestige. I don't think that's a catastrophe for the Democrats. I think that was the goal. I think the goal is a world that is not led by U.S. hegemony, that is not led by U.S. ideals and values and what they would consider, empire-building colonialism. Their goal is a world in which the U.S. is just one of many players that has a place at the table. And now I'm not even sure we have a place at the table in that region.
We have a place at the kid table. It's Thanksgiving, and we go sit in the other room while the adults do the serious work.
It's in the living room. That's right.
That's exactly right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, no matter what happens from this point forward with regard to Syria, the diplomatic damage to the United States has been incalculable. Two monumental catastrophes have occurred, and there will be no repairing either of them anytime soon. Now, first of all, the force field of international law and order, the military might of the United States of America, is now seen to be wielded by a vacillating, vain, inconsistent, incompetent, and most dangerously of all, weak president. I've never seen such a spectacular advertisement of American weakness. Barack Obama makes Jimmy Carter look like Winston Churchill. Now, secondly, Russia. Russia has, through skillful diplomacy and a canny reading of our president's narcissism and vanity, become the international beacon of reason and morality. To destroy America's unique moral authority, the international nation acting for freedom around the world, is a diplomatic Everest for Vladimir Putin and an unparalleled catastrophe for the United States. It is that moral foundation forged in the Second World War that has allowed us to forge the Pax Americana. What Barack Obama has done in order to assuage his personal vanity and back up his loose tongue is beyond my ability to describe. But I won't have to describe it. We're all going to see for ourselves. For PJTV, I'm Bill Whittle.